Before we begin, a gentle reminder for the audience to switch off their devices or set them to do not disturb mode. This session will begin shortly. A very good morning and a very warm welcome to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of 14 Versus 2026. Now, I'd like to introduce our judges today. The chief judge is Miss Aisha binti Haji Othman, Form 6 English Language Excellent Teacher, Darul Aman English Language Learning and Teaching Association. The second judge is Dr. Nasharil Nazrin bin Ramli from Sekolah Sultan Alam Shah. The third judge is Miss Kao Hoi Jing from SMS Tuanku Said Putra, and I, Anas bin Muhammad Fahami from Sekolah Sultan Alam Shah, while the timekeepers Hana Nazira binti Muhammad Rashidi and Raja Muhammad Hilmi bin Raja Abdullah are from Academy Science Pendang, Kedah. Now, allow me to read the rules. Each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-team assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once at the 9th minute and twice at the 10th minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. Aisha Rohani to present.
Many people say that young people nowadays, have spent much more time on smartphones rather than doing other activities. We disagree with this statement. We believe that sorry. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to the respected judges and fellow participants. Today, we will be presenting our project, Scrolls to Salaries, Smart Use, Bright Future. Before that, we will be explaining our roadmap for our presentation today. First, we will define our title, continue with the problem statement, outline our objectives, tell about our methodology, explain our case study, talk about our findings, tell our suggestions, and conclusion. To salaries, meaning transforming digital engagement into purposeful productivity that can create opportunities and build skills. Next is smart use, bright future. This concept encourages young people to use technology as a tool for financial independence and future success. Now we will continue with our problem statement. First, Limited career pathways for student athletes. Many student athletes act in sports but have limited exposure to, to opportunities and skills beyond the field. Next is technology access without financial empowerment. Students have smartphones and access to internet, but they do not use it and they do not know that it can be used to create income. Next is digital poverty among youth. Many students does not have the knowledge that can be used for digital opportunities. And last is lack of AI and digital skills. Next, we will talk about our objectives. First is enhance economic opportunities, foster purposeful technology usage, develop healthy digital habits. Rather than spending time on entertainment, we can use it for beneficial use. And lastly, build digital productivity. Next is analysis of our methodology. First is media publications. We searched online for online resources based on our news reports and newspapers online. Next is interviews. We conducted interviews not only with the locals but also international people to get a better understanding on digital economy nowadays. Next is AI Digital Entrepreneurship Program. We conducted hands-on sessions with the students from SMK Zaba to get a better understanding and teach them how to use AI tools. Next is surveys. We conducted surveys with teenagers to get a better understanding on digital economy these days.
Moving on with our case study, to prove and strengthen our research, we held an AI digital entrepreneurship program in collaboration with Sekolah Sukan Negeri SMK Pendeta Zaba located in Kuala Pilah Negeri Sembilan. We targeted 20 students from the B40 backgrounds as youth from lower income households often face greater barriers to accessing entrepreneurial opportunities. This isn't just a basic awareness program. We also added a unique twist. So, you must be wondering, why did we choose a sports school? Student athletes face unique challenges that we may have not paid much attention to. While they train day in and day out to pursue excellence in sports, only a small percentage eventually reach the professional level. A career in sports can also be affected by some factors such as injuries and also factors out of the athlete's control. We are not making an assumption. We reviewed various studies and statistical data related to sports. These statistics further support our concern and reinforce our rationale for selecting a sports school for our case study. In short, we are not replacing their sporting ambitions. We are providing them with a backup plan as an alternative career pathway for, for building financial independence. So, how do we make this solution sustainable? We use Canva and CapCut. As we all know, our program helps students use AI tools to transform their physical abilities to digital content that can gain income. You might not have a clear vision of this yet. So, I want all of you to imagine yourself as a badminton players who can create training tips videos. So, you can use AI tools to generate captions, edit videos, and also design promotional posters. Then you can upload this content online. You can upload this content online to attract followers or even brand sponsorships. Isn't that great? So back to our program, we also want to test if the skills could actually apply to real life. So we asked the students to upload their content to Instagram. This allows us to observe audience engagement and evaluate the potential of social media as a platform digital entrepreneurship and income generation. As you can see here, the interests are also shown by international buyers, which demonstrated that the students' digital content can reach audiences across the sea. Before the program, most students mainly use their devices for entertainment and social media. While they spend a lot of time online, most of them does not acknowledge how they can use these platforms to, to develop skills or create opportunities. After the program, we observe a clear shift in perspective where the students began viewing these devices as a tool for creativity and also learning and building opportunities to economic development. One of the key impacts of our program is increased awareness among students where they recognize the value of using technology for productive purposes. Another significant impact is improved screen time management where we reduce the unnecessary usage of technology. Next, as I said earlier, students began to build up a positive mindset shift where, where they start to use technology effectively. And last but not least, we clearly recognize the economic potential by publishing the students' outcomes from the program. So, based on our case study, findings, and impact, we propose several recommendations for a few key stakeholders. First of all is government. We suggest to introduce digital entrepreneurship as a new syllabus and also introduce digital and publish digital entrepreneurship program to especially for student athletes. Next is the collaboration between non-government organizations and schools. We want them to organize and establish a real-world business simulation programs and also to create a product test app. So, in conclusion, after all, breaking the cycle of poverty is not about achieving an instant success. It is about building confidence and also creating opportunities for themselves and to improve their economic state. True poverty reduction begins when we see people move from dependence to self reliance. Ultimately, achieving SDG 1 no poverty, meaning that we are requires the balance between compassion and empowerment. Charity may provide relief for today, but education, skills, and opportunity create lasting change for tomorrow. That's all from us. Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite the judges to ask questions.
Good job, ladies. So, this is about technology, and you talk about improved screen time management and positive perspective on digital tools. What about the negative impacts of artificial intelligence or technology? Please comment.
Thank you, Chief Judge, for your question. So, about the negative impact, I'm sorry. So, for the negative impacts for our presentation, first of all, I would like to add that since our initiative is closely related to AI, most students most students use AI to blind. I'm sorry. Most students use AI to just directly have an answer to their problems. For example, we acknowledge that while we handle the AI digital entrepreneurship program with the students, certain students use AI and just directly use information instead of instead of using their own creativity to 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 generate their own ideas while promoting a product. So that is one of the negative impacts that we would like to that we is that students are blindly um, are blindly are blindly used but blindly use the AI as a tool to just complete their work and not to generate their own ideas.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer. The next question is, you talk about AI being as one of the pillar in your research, isn't it? You have explained extensively about AI as well. Um, I'm more interested in what you do with that AI. You've talked a little bit about it just now. I just want to find out a bit more about it, in a sense that how did you actually implement AI in your program, and how does it actually impact your findings and discussion just now? Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Thank you for your question. So the reason why we use AI for our initiative is because AI offers a much more closer approach and also friendly to us as students. The reason why we use Canva and CapCut because it's easily accessible, and they can also explore their creativity using those platforms. So one of the one of the uses of AI that we suggested here is create a product test ad. I would like to introduce you to a program that we suggested for the NGOs and school, which is similar to an Explorers, but much more advanced and much more productive. So as you can see, establish your work business simulation programs. NGOs and schools will collaborate together and establish this as a part of curriculum. So it will be compulsory to all student athletes. That's number one. Number two, the students will find their own products, will create their own products with their own creativity. Now, this is where the NGOs and school will definitely limit use of AI, which means they will only use their own ideas, their own creativity. That is because most products have value when the makers use their own ideas. That's number two. Number three, create a product test app. So this is the part where the NGOs and school will use AI to create an app where students can test products by posting their products online and attract audiences to to give feedbacks on their products. For example, they posted a windbreaker product, and if there are comments like, "Oh, I would buy this. Wow, this is actually really good." So this actually represents this actually proves that these students are capable of business potential. That's all from us. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Good job, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful presentation.
Now, let's hear from the second team, Sekolah Sains Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah Pekan, to present.
A very good morning I bid to the respected judges, timekeepers, teachers, and fellow presenters. We are representative from Sekolah Sains Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah Pekan, also known as Shah
Shah
Pekan,
Pekan.
and we will be presenting the topic eradicating poverty from struggle to success under the sub-theme No Poverty. But before we get started, allow me to first introduce our teammates. I am Agatha Angeline as the first presenter, Shasha Humara as the second presenter, our wonderful technical assistant, Akib Aryan, and not to forget our advisor teacher, Madam Rita Royanti.
The contents of our presentation includes firstly an introduction, followed by problem statements, objectives, research methodology, key findings, impacts, recommendations, and to sum it all up, a conclusion. To begin, is everybody here aware that poverty is a major issue and is a socioeconomic condition that can affect individuals and communities? Several efforts have been ongoing in eradicating poverty, yet poverty still challenges society till this day. Poverty affects school dropouts. Why? Because students nowadays tend to drop out of school earlier due to financial hardships. This leads them to a decrease in social mobility. Next, poverty limits career opportunities. Why? Because students who are from poverty communities won't have the access to the skills needed to meet with job requirements. And lastly, if poverty goes on, intergenerational poverty will occur. Several objectives have been established in our study. The first one being to identify the factors contributing to successful poverty reduction. Secondly, to examine the impacts of poverty to individuals, communities, and the nation. Lastly, to understand the success stories of former students from low income backgrounds. These objectives guided us into our research methodology that we conducted. We conducted both quantitative and qualitative research. For our quantitative research, we did a survey where the respondents were among 30 Form 5 students. As for our qualitative research, we did an observation where we observed the situation faced by students in an orphanage. We also did an interview where we interviewed students from low income families and also successful school alumni to gain the most perspectives from different sources. And lastly, we did a questionnaire. The questionnaire was also responded by 30 Form 5 students. As you can see here, this graph shows from the survey that respondents highly value financial independence in their lives. This is important because financial independence play a big role in creating self-reliance for a student's future. Next, for our questionnaire, one of the questions that we asked students were, in your opinion, should the government provide more support for students from middle to low income families? Respondent A answered yes, because these are the communities who actually need support to end their poverty cycle in their family. This shows that students know the burden that poverty can create and also how poverty can affect intergenerational poverty. Next, for our interviews, the interview that we did with students from low income families show that these students talk about education, skills training, entrepreneurship, and also perseverance being the key elements to a sustainable socioeconomic success. They also stated on support systems such as scholarships and financial aid being what assisted them in their overall study journey. Whereas our interview that we did with successful school alumni, they mostly talked about opportunities gained by the support systems. This shows that support systems play a big role in creating opportunities. And lastly, for our observation, we observed two different orphanages. These orphanages meted up the requirements for a student's study journey, but both of them had one thing in common. They lacked digital opportunities. They didn't have enough devices for the students to do their assignments and homeworks. This can lead to the students having a difficult time and having limited opportunities to their subjects.
After analyzing and gathering data from our methodologies, we identified three major findings. The first findings highlights the important role of education. We believe that education plays a vital role as the main driver because education helps increase aspiration. It encourages young people to set their goals higher and strive for a better success in the future. Next, education also helps enhance employability. As you can see, our world today is moving forward to the futuristic. Therefore, many companies out there are searching for employers with higher academic backgrounds. And lastly, education also helps build confidence. I guarantee if you become a successful person, your confidence will rise. Nelson Mandela once has said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. While education provides the foundation of success, knowledge alone cannot be done. This brings us to our second finding, which is skills development. Skills development helps in creating opportunities and improving employability. So, what are the exact skills that can help create opportunities? The first one is problem solving skills. It teaches young people to identify the challenges that they are facing and make a better decision to overcome it. Next is digital literacy. Through digital literacy, it teaches young people to communicate and collaborate online, which can help them prepare for the modern future job. Next is communication skills. I believe if young people conquer these skills, they will indeed succeed in their interviews, education, and even career. And lastly, is leadership skills. Through these skills, it helps build confidence among the young people, which can help them improvise their teamwork and lead to success. However, education and skills development cannot thrive without adequate support. This brings us to our third findings, which is government and NGO supports. Shasha, do you know why the support system matters?
I'm not sure, Agatha. Tell me more about it.
All right. This support system matters because it can help students thrive to success by providing them with scholarship, especially to those who are from low income background family that wants to pursue their studies even further, which can reduce the burden that they are facing. Next is financial aid. By handing out monetary supports to those who are in need, especially before this, can help cover the expenses. Next is school supplies. By providing school supplies to B40s and those who are in need can help proactive the studies that they are in. And lastly is training programs. It equips young people with such deliberate skills which can help them lead to success in the future, such as leadership skills, communication skills, and even digital literacy skills.
Now, this brings us to the integrated poverty reduction model, where key elements such as education, skills training, entrepreneurship education, the government, and also community collaboration all work together to achieve successful poverty eradication. When more individuals are empowered, they can move from struggle to success. Several impacts can be achieved in our study. The first one being empowered individuals. Greater access to education can give them the knowledge and skills needed for self development. This can also give them a better quality of opportunities for their future and also a better quality of life. Secondly, thriving communities. When more individuals are empowered, communities can benefit from them. Empowered individuals can contribute to leadership and also participation in community activities. And lastly, these positive impacts can help national development. It can help sustainable economic growth throughout our country. Several recommendations could be considered to achieve those following impacts. The first one being digital learning opportunities should be invested to students so that they can be prepared with the future modern world. Secondly, entrepreneurship education should be encouraged to students so that they can equip skills such as education, leadership, and also self-reliance. And lastly, collaborations among schools, NGOs, and also government agencies should be promoted so that they can maximize impact.
Finally, let's summarize the key takeaways in these studies, which education, skill development, stakeholder supports, and resilience are essential in breaking the cycle of poverty. By empowering youth with knowledge, opportunities, and supports, we can create a sustainable socioeconomic success and build a brighter future for all. That's all from us. Thank you.
All All right, thank you very much. That was a really good presentation as well. And I'm happy that your participants collectively agree that education and skills are the key mechanism, in helping and elevating the marginalized communities in particular, which goes really well with SDG 1, which is to end poverty. Relating back, so I don't want to go astray from what you have actually talk about, because my question will be about what you have talk about, but I'm interested to know the specific relationship that your topic as well as your findings that you have presented there. So the question is, how does your research at the end of the day empower youth? Because understanding that the theme for this year is youth at the helm, so how does it, what you've done, how does it actually empower youth?
So, our research, we use multiple methods. We use observation, interviews, surveys, and questionnaires. So we had many answers, many responses. So these answers gave us a comparison in all of the sources. So this can give us the better analyze of findings that we can use, such as the education and skills development, but also skills development and education would not be possible to achieve to end poverty without support from the government and NGOs. I hope that answers your question.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, I think you mentioned a few important skills that the young people should acquire to get more opportunities, right? And one of the skills you mentioned is the problem solving skill. Now, in your opinion, how do you think that we can help the young people to develop this skill? Who plays the most important role, and how to help them?
Okay,
Thank you.
so for the problem solving skill that I have mentioned earlier, if these skills is applied to the young people here, it can help them to identify the challenges that they are facing, and which can help them which can help improve the critical of them, and then which can help them also lead to the success in the future by them critical thinking, and which can improve them. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
So by having problem solving skills, it can help them to solve complex question. For example, in SPM, there were several question that was complex that was given to them. When they have problem solving skills, it helped them to solve that problems. I hope it answers your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much and good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to all presenters and especially to the judges.
Now, I would like to invite SM Science Bagandato to present.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning I bid to everyone present on the floor today, those being the honorable judges, my loyal comrades, and of course, lovely members of the audience present here today. We, as representatives from Sekolah Menengah Sains Baganato, are standing here today to present our topic,
Education for all, poverty for none.
under the sub-theme Breaking Barriers, Empowering Youth to End Poverty. Before we can dive deeper into our research, let me first briefly introduce the members of our mighty team. First and foremost, greetings. My name is Wafa Askia, and I'll be the main presenter for today, guiding our discussion. Next, we have our glamorous rapporteur, Amani Rifka, as my assistant. Working tirelessly behind the scenes, we have Khairul Amar Danish as our charming technical assistant. And last but certainly not least, our glorious teacher advisor, Mr. Azwan Sha'ari. Now that we've gotten to know everybody, let's get started. 2,705. To most of you, this may seem like just a number, but for those of you who know, this is Malaysia's poverty line income. This means that households that earn less than this number every month are officially considered as poor. Low-income households often struggle with obtaining basic necessities such as food, shelter, and of course, education. Youth born into such families are more likely to drop out of school in comparison to their more fortunate peers. Factors such as lack of transport, academic deficit, and of course, expensive school tuitions all contribute to such an issue. With that being said, there are ways to overcome this. Now, with that being said, let's get started. Before we can bite into the flesh of our research, let me first highlight a few keywords that will become integral to understanding our topic for today. The first being poverty, which is a deprivation of basic needs encountered by an individual. Youth, according to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, is an individual between the ages of 15 to 30. Next, education is the process of learning and teaching, especially in schools and colleges. Financial aid is a sum of money granted by an organization, governmental or not, intended to provide assistance to those in need. Last but not least, empowerment is the process of gaining freedom and power to do what you want or to control what happens to you. Now that we've grasped a basic understanding, it's my pleasure to open the floor to Amani to continue.
Thank you very much, Wafa. The pleasure is all mine, really. Now, moving on to our next slide, which is research objective. At the end of our presentation, we have concluded that these objectives have to be fulfilled. Number one, being to investigate the extent to education helps impoverished youth overcome poverty. This objective examines how education equips marginalized youth with knowledge, skills, and qualification that can improve their living standards and employment opportunities. Moving on to the second objective, to identify effective ways to assist marginalized youth in breaking the cycle of poverty. Now, this objective aims to explore solutions that enable marginalized youth to overcome poverty and build a brighter future. Now, let's take a look at the problem statement, which outlines the challenges addressed in the study. Based on this diagram, it is widely known that educational financial aid is integral in assisting students in a battle of education. However, its profound impact on youth empowerment has yet to be studied. Even though higher rate of education have pointed out to reducing the rate of poverty, a study has yet to be conducted to explore the relationship between educational financial aid recipients and reduced poverty rates. With that being said, our main problem statement is this study is to form a relationship between educational financial aid recipients and reduced poverty rates. To carry out our research, we have used the combination of both qualitative and quantitative methods. Regarding our quantitative method, we have conducted a survey consisted of 16 questions where our respondents mainly come from students, followed by civil servants, private sectors, and self-employed. Looking closer to our demographic, the total of our respondents are 111 people, whereas 77 of them are female respondents and the remaining 34 are male respondents. With the majority of 15.9% of our respondents are aged between 28 and above. Moving on to our family income distribution of our respondents, with the majority of 54.1% of our respondents come from the middle income group, which is M40, followed by B40 and T20. Now, I will pass the mic to Wafa to continue explaining further regarding our survey data.
Thank you, Amani. So first, starting off, we can see that 60% of our respondents have in fact received educational financial aid. This means that the majority of our demographic can resonate with the topic at hand. Next, looking at the survey data responses, 13 out of the total 16 questions were measured using the Likert scale. All 13 questions were divided into 3 themes. The first one being education and youth empowerment, focusing on the most significant questions for today under this theme, that being question 2, education helps youth overcome challenges, with a total of 88 respondents strongly agreeing. Next, under the theme education and poverty reduction, question number 4, education helps impoverished youth improve their families' living conditions, with a turnout of 70 respondents strongly agreeing. Last but not least, under the theme financial aid and support, question number 2, scholarships help students continue their education, with a total of 80 respondents strongly agreeing. So in conclusion, we believe that our research goal has been achieved. This is because the strong majority of respondents strongly agree that financial aid is integral in supporting a marginalized youth to receive the education they require in order to break free from the cycle of poverty. Thus, the link between educational financial aid recipients and reduced poverty rates has been formed. With that being said, let me pass the torch back to Amani to further continue.
Thank you again, Wafa, for the amazing explanation. Now, moving on to our next slide, which is interview feedback. Based on this slide, our team have conducted an interview with a few selected individuals with the big question. Here, we have pointed out 3 responses with the most excellent answers that we feel connected to our topic. Starting off with question number 1. In your opinion, how does education empower youth? Here, our interview said, education empowers youth by equipping them with knowledge, critical thinking skills, and confidence to make informed decisions, pursue opportunities, and contribute positively to society. Moving on to our next question. How do you think financial aid helps for students? Here, our interview quoted, financial aid can reduce educational expenses such as school fees, purchasing reference books, stationery, and transportation costs, which are becoming increasingly expensive nowadays. Looking at our last questions, do you believe that equal access to quality education has the ability to give everyone an opportunity for success regardless of background? Why or why not? Based on this question, our interview said, yes, equal access to quality education gives everyone knowledge, skills, confidence to pursue their goals, removes barriers, and provides a fair chance for success. Here, we can conclude that our interviewees highlight that equal access to quality education helps empower youth, reduce poverty, and create opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, now that we know that quality education is a key to creating opportunity, the next question should be, how do we ensure that everyone has access to it? Let's take a look at some possible solutions. First, we recommend expanding scholarships and financial aid. Other than that, we also suggest providing free learning materials. Another solution is offering transport and meal assistance. And lastly, promoting awareness of financial aid programs so that more families have the access to the support that is available for them. Now that we have some solutions in mind, we can now move closer to achieving education for all, poverty for none. With that being said, I will pass the presentation back to Wafa to conclude our discussion today. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, Amani, for your amazing review. So let me conclude today's presentation by utilizing a simple diagram. You see, youth born into low-income families experience destitution, which implies low or lack of education, which further means lack of opportunity and thus become full cycle. Youth entrapped in this cycle find it hard to escape without interventive measures. But with the existence of educational financial aid, youth are empowered by receiving the proper education they need to increase their opportunity to earn a higher living wage, which means the poverty trap can be escaped. So, in conclusion, education is not just a pathway to knowledge, it is an important tool for breaking free from the shackles of poverty. With this, by ensuring equal access to education for all, we can empower youth in order to build a sustainable, more equitable future with education for all and poverty for none. Moving on to our last slide, our references, a compilation of the resources and articles used in our slide. And as all good things come to an end, our presentation for today has concluded. That's all from us.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to open the floor for anyone to ask any questions.
Great presentation, ladies.
Thank you.
We know that equitable education is a critical pathway towards achieving long-term socioeconomic development. Assistance or help such as scholarship or financial aids are given to the students, but some of them, they have negative or unpleasant attitude towards education. So what is your point of view?
Could you repeat the question?
We do have some students who are unfortunate, right? So scholarships and financial aids are given to them, but some of them, they have negative or unpleasant attitudes toward educations. So what is your point of view?
In my opinion, through education, through educational financial aid, actually, this can help. This can help this set of students that have a negative ineptitude, because we believe by providing the resources they require to truly obtain the quality education, most of them will see that education isn't all that boring. And with the proper funding and resources that schools require, they can make education a fun experience for all, and that will help with their negative ineptitude. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. The following question is, you talk a lot about education and the whole research revolves around it, and I would assume that it comes from your very own finding, isn't it? So my question is, education for all, or you mentioned the word quality education, is pretty much under the paradigm of SDG 4. How do you distinguish SDG 4 and SDG 1, which is to end poverty, in your research? What is your opinion on this?
Well, in my opinion, those two SDGs are actually connected. As you can see, SDG 4, if we help improve SDG 4, we can also help increase SDG 1. Yes, by ensuring quality access to education for all, we can help reduce poverty rates. Yes, so that's the importance of it all.
All right, that's a good answer, actually. All right, I think that's it from all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for that interesting presentation.
So they can get prepared, and then we can go off for a bit.
Now, let me please invite the fourth team, Sekolah Menengah Sains Banting or BASIS, to present.
According to the 2021 Deloitte Global Millennial and Gen Z survey, a vast majority of young people express concern regarding major socio-economic issues and a desire to help advocate for positive change. But ladies and gentlemen, willingness does not always translate into action. And when youth lack the opportunity, support systems, and mentorship, their capabilities or possibilities to contribute is vastly inhibited. And this raises a critical question. How can we break the barriers that inhibit positive action and thus subsequently empower youth to end poverty? But before that, Assalamu alaikum and a good day I bid to the esteemed panel of educators, accurate timekeepers, the people of the floor, and those of you joining us digitally today.
We from Sekolah Menengah Sains Banting will present our research titled Rise, Bridging the Gap Between Youth Potential and Localized Poverty Reduction. But before I officially begin, I would like to introduce our team. First of all, Madam Hailana binti Gapor as the supervising teacher. Next, right next to me, Iman Eliza. Furthermore, Amita Iswaran. And finally, me, Muhammad Haziq Hazril. Today, we will guide you through our research journey from identifying the problems, analyzing our findings, and finally, proposing RISE as a mechanism to bridge this gap.
Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about poverty reduction, oftentimes we focus on financial assistance, government intervention, and vulnerable communities. But acknowledge that sustainable change does not only depend on resources, it also depends on the people who are willing to create solutions. And this brings us to the role of youth. For while they are recognized as the leaders of tomorrow, we believe that youth are not merely future contributors, but present stakeholders who already possess the ideas, perspectives, and potential to influence their communities. And yet, meaningful youth involvement requires more than simply inviting them to participate. True empowerment is giving youth the awareness, skills, guidance, and opportunities needed to identify problems, develop solutions, and lead initiatives.
However, there is a clear gap between youth motivation and youth impact. Our research shows that youth are willing and confident enough to contribute in local poverty reduction efforts, but their participation are harshly limited to its symbolic involvement rather than impactful leadership. This occurs because the youth lack awareness, guidance, and structural support that are needed to sustain a poverty reduction initiative. Therefore, our research focuses on a question: what prevents motivated youth from leading a meaningful poverty reduction effort?
Based on this problem, we aim to answer three main questions. Firstly, what barriers affect youth involvement in poverty reduction efforts? Secondly, what perceptions do youth have regarding their role in leadership and community development? And last but not least, what forms of support are necessary to empower youth-led action? And this leads to the objectives coming from our part, in which we aim to firstly identify barriers affecting youth involvement in anti-poverty efforts. Secondly, examining youth perceptions towards leadership and poverty reduction. Third, determining the supports youth require to initiate anti-poverty efforts. And last but not least, to develop a mechanism that incubates youth-led initiatives.
To investigate this issue comprehensively, we adopted a mixed method approach that consists of both qualitative and quantitative data. Our research consists of 5 phases. To start with, literature review. We conducted a literature review by analyzing reports, articles that are relevant to poverty reduction efforts, youth participation, and successful support system. This allows us to identify existing gaps and factors that contribute to a successful support system.
Moving on from that, we conducted a survey involving 226 respondents from the province of Klang, aged 13 to 25 years. And this survey was aimed to examine areas such as awareness on poverty-related issues and existing youth programs, confidence in leading community initiatives, access to opportunities and support systems, and the type of support needed to contribute more effectively.
Thirdly, we conducted a pilot workshop titled A How-To in Improving Your Community Youth Edition. This workshop involves 56 Form 5 students representing our targeted future users, which are SPM graduates, transmitting into an independent lifestyle. Through this workshop, we introduced poverty-related issues, youth's role in community development, and much more.
Moving on from that, we held a semi-structured interview with Sir Azad Khalis, acting as the president of the Harmony Youth Society Club at Sultan Idris Education University, in which we explored the practical challenges faced by youth leaders, such as difficulties in sustaining initiatives, mobilizing participants, and getting funds.
Finally, we conducted a thematic analysis to identify recurring patterns and themes across our collected data.
Moving on from that, here are three key findings observed in our research today. Firstly, youth possess motivation and are not unwilling to contribute towards anti-poverty initiatives. However, and this shows that many youths believe they can contribute towards solving social issues and are willing to lead initiatives when given proper support. Secondly, ladies and gentlemen, awareness and opportunities remain limited. Despite the willingness demonstrated earlier on, youth remain unaware of existing programs, organizations, and pathways that exist to help them contribute. This shows that the barrier is not a lack or reduction in interest, but a lack in accessibility.
Lastly, youths identified mentorship, leadership training, and opportunities to implement ideas as key forms of support needed. This finding shows that young people does not only need a platform to speak, they require a system that enables them to act.
With that, we can conclude that the issue here is not unmotivated youth, but unsupported youth. Youth already have the passion and ideas that can bring about positive change and influential action. However, without structured guidance, these ideas remain unrealized.
In response to this gap, we propose RISE, a digital youth incubation platform designed to empower youth to lead their own localized poverty reduction efforts. RISE consists of 4 stages. First of all, recognize. First, youth are equipped with awareness and knowledge of poverty-related challenges within their communities. Secondly, initiate. Next, youth are guided to develop practical ideas based on these identified conflicts. Furthermore, support, mentorship, skills development, access to resources. These are the support that are needed to transform their ideas into reality. And finally, empower, of course. Finally, youth are empowered to independently launch and lead their own poverty reduction initiative.
In terms of implementation, RISE functions as a digital platform to connect youth towards secondary stakeholders. So who are our main stakeholders today, or our main users? Well, they are young participants, namely SPM graduates. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's because SPM graduates, they are entering a stage where they can independently participate in community initiatives. Secondary stakeholders are included, However, successful implementation requires collaboration with secondary stakeholders, namely schools, NGOs, and relevant institutions. Through this cooperation and ecosystem, youth will never be merely participants of existing programs, but leaders capable of designing and leading their own solutions.
In addition, through RISE, we aspire to bridge poverty reduction and youth potential by transforming motivation into meaningful action. And with that, before we end, we would like to show a video.
I apologize for this mishap. Well, through RISE, we envision impact across 3 levels. Firstly, with youth, we aim to have an increase of awareness on community issues, an increase of leadership skills, and give them practical experience in developing solutions. For the community, they'll benefit through more localized and practical solutions because the youth who develop them are those who experience and face them head on. And in terms of Malaysia, we can see the benefit in terms of long-term community and youth ecosystem development.
And with that, thank you.
Rise to the occasion. You can do it.
Now, I would like to invite the judges to ask questions.
Good job, everyone. All right, now, how can you implement the theory of rights to other youth internationally in order to obtain SDG worldwide?
Okay, so the main thing about our mechanism here today is that it operates on a scale. First and foremost, we'll start by implementing it on the state level by giving pilot projects implemented through secondary schools for the Form 5 students, as represented by our pilot workshop. So if it seems to work on the state level, we can then expand it to more national-wide, maybe through the implementation of programs or competitions, and also by giving awareness on social media. Now, when we're talking about the international level, because we aim to eradicate poverty worldwide, yes, well, we tell you that this requires collaboration between nations, and thus and therefore we require the collaboration of major NGOs such as UNESCO and even universities so that they can actually provide awareness and talk about this mechanism on the global stage. Therefore, once it's recognized globally, youth can start to participate and will also have an increase in mentors who are willing to volunteer to give their advice. Does that answer your question, please? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I thought it was a really good presentation as well. I like the fact that you argue that it also relates back with what the previous team has talked about, which financial aid does not guarantee success, and you started with that, and I like that a lot. And you argue that youth empowerment is the way to go, isn't it? Which perfectly fits with the theme today. I'm asking question in a more methodological way, because I think that your methodology is very sound. So my question is, what necessitate the need to have both quantitative and qualitative method of collecting data in your study? Why?
All right. So in my opinion, when we look at poverty, we can look at it in such a wide scale, and it impacts so many families and so many individuals. So when we started with quantitative research, we wanted to grasp what the opinion of the wider populace was towards the issue that we brought forth. Once we understand the consensus of the majority or the main opinion, we want to understand why it exists. So with that, we identified the main stakeholders, such as ex-youth leaders, and we took a look at these SPM graduates, and we wanted to see their personal opinions, which is where qualitative research comes in. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much. That perfectly answered my question. I think that's pretty much it from all of us. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to all presenters and to all the judges.
Now, I would like to invite the final team for today's session, SVP Integrasis Landa, to present.
Panel, with just 1 year of educator skills opportunity can increase a person hourly earnings by 10%. But there are still youth who lack practical skills and career exposure, limiting their opportunities to succeed in increasing competitive workforce.
So the real question is, are we merely helping you survive poverty today, or are we equipping them with the skills needed for them to escape poverty tomorrow? What if we take action for them? And that's what we're going to explore in our presentation from campus to community, building youth skills for a poverty-free future.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very pleasant day I bid you, the esteemed panel of judges, respected moderator, precise timekeeper, and to all the members of the floor. I'm Kisha Kistina.
I'm Pelangi Erdina, and over there is our technical assistant Afif Aiman. And not to forget, teacher Azlina as our advisor. And we're the representative from the Selanda Integrated School of Malacca, or SISMI for short.
Ladies and gentlemen, to understand why this issue requires attention, it is necessary to look forward to the research background that conducted our study. Existing poverty intervention often focuses on short-term financial relief rather than long-term self-sufficiency and capability building. Author Karina Fragoso says that financial assistance is only useful for short-term relief. However, long-term poverty reduction requires investment in education and self-confidence, enabling youth to be more confident in future workforce.
Also, research by William Jacks found that many employers cannot find workers with important skills such as communication, teamwork, and problem solving. This shows that academic knowledge alone is not enough. So at this point, we started to ask ourselves, who will be the most suitable group to bridge this skills gap? The answer was university students.
University students possess valuable knowledge that is beneficial to these youth. Having recently gone through life after school, they can benefit them through guidance that is relatable and relevant. Their closer age gap also makes it easier for these students to ask questions and seek advice. Beyond teaching skills, they can provide inspirations and confidence to these youth.
So if we already know what youth need to succeed, the question is no longer what is the solution, but why are there still so many youth who are unable to access these opportunities? The evidence is clear, judges. Sustainable poverty reduction begins with empowerment. When youth have access to skills, mentorships, and opportunities, they are better equipped to achieve self-sufficiency and improve their future prospects. However, there are still many underprivileged and at-risk youth who lack access to these resources, and this gap forms the basis of our problem statement. Firstly, many underprivileged and at-risk youth lack access to practical skills, mentorship, and career exposure, limiting their readiness for future employment. Secondly, existing poverty interventions often focus on short-term financial support rather than long-term self-sufficiency and employability. Finally, although university students possess valuable knowledge and skills, they have limited opportunities to contribute to youth development. This concern is also supported by UNESCO, which highlights that unequal access to skills training creates skill gaps among youth, leaving many unprepared for the modern workforce and emphasizing the need for greater skill development opportunities.
However, before any solution could be proposed, it is necessary for us to look to these challenges that these youth are facing. This provides us our research questions. Firstly, we identify what practical skills are lacking among these youth and how these may affect their future opportunities. Secondly, we examine how university students can help bridge this skills gap by mentorship and guidance. Lastly, we evaluate the effectiveness of the mentorship program in improving youth future readiness.
Identifying the problem tells us what is wrong. Research objectives help us to understand what needs to be explored in order to create meaningful change. With this in mind, we have developed one very simple research objective to guide our study. Our research objective is to explore how providing underprivileged and at-risk youth with greater access to practical skills development, mentorship, and meaningful learning opportunities through university student involvement can enhance their potential, improve their future readiness, and reduce their long-term risk of poverty. Having established our research objective, the next step was to determine how the necessary data would be collected and analyzed. We have adopted a mixed method approach, combining both quantitative and qualitative research.
For the quantitative component, we distributed a questionnaire consisting of 8 multiple choice questions and 2 open-ended questions to gather data on other perspective on what youth need to succeed and their opinions about a university-led mentorship program. Moving on, our qualitative research, we did a literature review on published articles and research papers. Not to mention, we did an interview with 3 university students, 7 secondary school students, and teachers to also gain their perspective on this issue.
Having established our research methodology, we can now turn to the key findings of our study. Our research findings revealed 3 key insights. Firstly, communication, leadership, and digital skills. These were among the most requested skills, indicating a clear skill gaps among youth. Secondly, many of our respondents said that they don't have sufficient opportunities to develop these skills. And finally, the third insight, 84.6% of respondents express their interest in joining a university-led skills and mentorship program.
Moving on to our first theme, which is limited exposure and confidence restrict youth opportunities. Respondents says that for them to escape poverty, they need discipline, determination, and education because these are the key factors for success. Moving on, the second theme. Practical skills and self-development promote future success. Respondents says that the reason students nowadays are not able to achieve their goals because the high-level competitors, not to mention the fear of failure haunts them. Lastly, theme number 3. Equitable access to youth opportunities supports youth development. Every young person should have access to sufficient educational opportunities and government support in school, even when facing many challenges.
Overall, the findings highlight a strong need for skills development, mentorship, and career exposure among youth. Based on our findings, empowering youth not only requires academic learning, it requires skills, mentorships, and career exposure. So, this is why we created the 3 pillars of youth empowerment, which is the 3E framework: educate, empower, and excel. The first pillar, educate. We define it as providing youth with practical and in-demand skills through university-led training. The purpose of this is to help youth prepare them for their future and for better career opportunities. For example, the K-Youth Development Program 2026 provides industry-relevant training for high-demand careers. Similarly, our Educate pillar aims to enhance youth skills and future readiness.
The second pillar, empower. Equipping young people with the skills, confidence, and guidance needed to recognize their strength. Their purpose is simple panel to help youth recognize their strength and pursue their goals to make informed decisions about their future. For example, one-to-one mentorship programs with university students and secondary school students makes them more ready and know what the future is coming for them. Lastly, career sharing talks where university students share their knowledge and their experiences to these youths.
Finally, our third and last pillar, excel. We define it as enabling youth to apply their knowledge, skills, and experiences to achieve success in the future. The purpose of this is to help youth maximize their full potential by providing opportunities to showcase their abilities, gain recognition for their achievements, and for better employment opportunities. For example, students can participate in skills competition and innovation challenges, as well as project presentations and talent showcases to demonstrate growth and build their confidence.
In conclusion, our SWOT analysis highlights the potential of the 3E framework becoming into reality. Despite several challenges, the strength and opportunities outweighs its limitation, making it a promisable, sustainable poverty reduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, poverty is not just a lack of income, it is often a lack of opportunities. Like the saying goes, if you give a man a fish, you will feed him for a day. But if you teach a man how to fish, you will feed him for a lifetime.
And with that,
we've never been more proudly to propose.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite the judges to ask questions.
All right, good morning. Sorry, good afternoon. All right, based on your research, I noticed that you focus on the underprivileged youth who are studying in the university. Am I right? Because you collected the data from them, right? Now, my question is, how about those underprivileged youth who don't get the opportunity to continue their studies in the university level?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Okay. Your research focus on the underprivileged youth who are studying in the university, am I right?
I'm sorry, we're focusing on the underprivileged youth that are in secondary school.
Oh, okay. But I think you collected the data from the university students as well.
Yes,
Okay, why is that so? Can you
Because-
clarify on that?
because we collected the data from university students because we want to know if actually they want to contribute to this program, and they said yes because they feel that when they see these underprivileged youth don't know where they're going, they feel empathy because they want to help but they don't have the opportunity to. That's why we collected the data from them.
All right, thank you for your clarification.
Okay, following that as well, I'm going to ask more of a conceptual as well as methodological questions as well. So you have quite a long list of skills that you have identified, isn't it? And it is also embedded in your questionnaire or survey. My question is, so these are the skills that you believe contribute to empowering them, isn't it? So my question is, how did you come up with that long list?
Like, so how we came up with all these skills is by conducting our research through literature reviews, as I said earlier, the published articles. We list out all these skills, but we also give them more options to tell us what skills they want to improve. But as you can see, there are three main skills that these youth don't know how to do and that they want to be improved to ensure that they have more opportunities in the future. Does that answer your question?
Perfectly answers my question. Thank you very much. I think that's pretty much it from us. Good job, everyone. And that's it from us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the interesting presentation. Thank you to all judges for your time. And thank you to the audience for listening. We hope that the audience has gained valuable knowledge from those informative presentations.